Oh, Janice, did I ever tell you that the first time I actually read the Bible, I was on mushrooms?
That actually would be a lot more fun.
It was not. It was a very bad trip.
Gonna pick out a few. Grab a smick or a clue. The trolls are out in full force. Guess it's par for the course. Should I look at DMs? Rather stab my eyes with a pen. Oh, please let this one be bright. It's no use. My mentions are all full of shite.
Hello, Holy Comments listeners. Did you know that you can get an extended and unedited version of this episode on Patreon? It includes 2 to 4 more comment reviews than you'll hear in this episode. Hit the link in the description to watch that. Janice Selby has also just released her new book, Divorcing Religion, a memoir and survival handbook. This is a must-read if you've left religion. Find the link to this book in the description. Welcome to the Holy Fucking Comments podcast. This is the podcast that is Judgment Day for holy trolls. It's a reckoning for the self-righteous and a sentencing for the sanctimonious. This is where we review the best comments that we've gotten throughout the past week as atheist content creators on the internet. This is my lovely co-host, Janice Selby. Hi, Janice.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very excited about some of the crazy comments that we've got this week.
Yes, there is never, ever a shortage of these comments. If we could just turn that into money, that'd be great. You know what I'm saying?
We better pray about it.
All right. So, how we do this is we'll review the comments that we get, give our thoughts on it, our rebuttal if we have one, and then we're going to rate them out of 5 smicks. Smicks come from the greatest comment of all time that I got on my YouTube channel a long time ago. So long ago that I've lost the screenshot, but it has become common vernacular in our household. And the comment read, "There are a million smicks in a clue, and you don't even have a smick." So that's why all of our comments are going to be rated out of 5 smicks, so that hopefully one day we will have enough smicks to have a clue.
We can only hope and pray that we get enough smicks for a clue.
One day we shall have a clue. So, with that said, let's take a look at our first comment.
Storm in a teacup. I've had sex with chicks younger than legal age. It's no big deal. They were into it. People virtue signal because their own soul is corrupt as buggery. Simple.
I know.
Was that from Matt Gates? Because I mean, that's just a suspicion. That's the first thing that comes to my head. But, ooh,
I don't know what it is about dudes in my comments, but they just like insist on telling on themselves. Like just over and over and over again. And I mean, I would say it's funny if they weren't clearly hurting people, you know?
yeah, you can't engage minors in situations like that. I consider it kind of similar to people trying to baptize, coercing their children into making lifelong pledges, etc., contracts when they're underage. They're not. Their brain hasn't matured sufficiently. They can't tell what's necessarily real from not real. There are all sorts of reasons why such a contract would never stand up in court, and also, it's similar with young people. Yeah, I mean, children, people who are underage, minors, having sex, particularly with people who are older. There's a power differential there. It's not a good idea, and it's against the law. So please stop.
Yes. And I found it quite interesting that this person he said that our souls are the corrupt ones and he's sleeping with underage girls. I'm just like the self-awareness is just in complete he's lacking it completely.
And he says their own soul is corrupt as buggery. Um,
He's worried about people virtue signaling. That's the problem. It's not statutory RAPE. It is people virtue signaling. That is the real problem in society.
well, and in the United States, there are many states where people will marry their underage daughters off. Daughters in particular. I'm sure it might happen with sons too, but these young girls are forced to marry older men because maybe the man has talked them into bed at some point or something has gone on. But either way, there again, we run into the idea of really a lifelong contract and you're underage. And the problem is when those minors attempt to break the contract because some crooked judge, married them in his living room or whatever, they don't have the legal standing because they're not adults. They can't even break the contract. So, yeah, it's just problematic all around. I don't like it.
Very quickly after I took a screenshot of this comment, I banned this man from my page just for future reference. Anybody watching this, if you're going to admit that you are harming people in my comments, bye-bye. I'll also report you to Facebook or wherever you're posting comments.
Mhm.
But how many smicks do you think this predator deserves?
It really was just upsetting all the way around. I don't think he even deserves a smick. Do we have less than a smick? Does he get like 0 smicks? Minus 10?
Let's give him 0 smicks. We're the bosses.
He could use a smick upside the head? Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh yeah, 0, definitely 0 at least. Let's head into something a little bit more lighthearted, shall we?
I'm
We
ready.
have a new inductee into the Council of Prayers.
Yay!
So, the Council of Prayers, for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, is a collection of people who have told us that they're praying for us. And we thought it would be fun to keep track of how many people we have praying for us and what the results might be. Janice, has anything amazing happened to you this week?
I got a parking spot at the mall. And I know a lot of Christians pray for that to happen. So maybe that was somebody praying for me. I don't know. How about you?
Well, I definitely think that the Council of Prayers is working because The Onion bought InfoWars this week. And that
Yay!
was about the most amazing news I've ever heard. So,
That was very
yeah,
good. Mhm,
definitely these prayers are really working out in our favor, I think.
mhm. And we could almost guarantee that they would work if they would send us money along with the prayers. I mean, isn't that how they do it? Isn't that how they do it? The televangelists?
Yeah, like Joel Osteen and stuff like that.
Yes, just send $10. $10 American.
Prosperity gospel.
That's right. I could use some prosperity.
Well, we do have a new one this week praying for us. Do you want to hear what he said?
Oh, let her rip.
I'll pray for you. Please read the Bible. It will change your life and the hereafter.
And the hereafter. Okay.
Oh, Janice, did I ever tell you that the first time I actually read the Bible, I was on mushrooms?
Ooh, that actually would be a lot more fun.
It was not. It was a very bad trip.
Oh
I
no.
I was an avid mushroom connoisseur back in the day. And this was one of the very, very few times that I actually had a bad experience was when I was at my friend's house and she had a Bible in her house. We didn't have them in our house because I grew up atheist. And I opened it and started reading it. Obviously I knew what it was and I knew generally what was kind of contained in it, but I was just like opening it and thumbing through it. And I actually
Mhm.
started reading and everything just got dark after that. I didn't actually read the whole thing, but obviously I started it. So I have read it and it did not, I mean, I guess it changed my life a little bit in that I was a little bit more cautious about what I did next time I was doing
Well, I
mushrooms.
hope the next time you took a trip with a fun guy, I hope that you actually just played with the Ouija board instead. Well, I have read the Bible front to back many times because I used to read the Bible over the course of a year. There are a lot of Christians who do that, um, and it narrowed my thinking. It kept my thinking very narrow. And now, on this side of things, I'm so glad to be free from that and have a much broader view and understanding of how the world actually works instead of the sheep herders who wrote the book years and hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. Like, no, not interested.
That's the story I hear from all of the people that I've connected with who used to be religious and they're now atheists. They all say that they read it cover to cover and that is what made them atheists, and they are so glad to be free of that stuff. So I guess maybe that's what they mean by it'll change your life.
Well, now I have an entire career based on helping people who manage to escape from the Bible, Christianity.
Yes.
So it's helped me in that way, I guess. But thanks, but no thanks. Keep praying.
Yeah. Well, he's number 4 in our council of prayers. We've
We're
got 4
getting
of them now.
so much closer.
Yeah. All right, are we ready for our next comment?
Ready.
Let's take a look at what it says.
She's a nut job if she only looked in the mirror and figure out how we self-created without a creator.
That's me, by the way, that they're talking about. I'm the nut job, which I will
Oh.
freely admit that I have, issues to work out, but
I assumed it was about me being a nut job, but there you go. If she only looked in the mirror and figured out how we self-created without a creator. I'm not even sure I understand that.
it's as if looking in the mirror is a reliable way to deduce the origins of existence.
I think we might need a mushroom to have to try and understand that. Whatever they were trying to say there. Wow.
This is just the same old misconception that atheists believe that we created ourselves or that we came from nothing spontaneously. They love to believe that the Big Bang was an explosion because they haven't bothered to actually read what the Big Bang is. And it's just the thing that they're not understanding is that as atheists, most of us believe that life came from natural processes governed by evidence-based laws of physics, and we don't know the answers to everything, and that's okay.
Yes, but that is very much not okay if you are someone who is stuck in rigid ways of thinking. And that's what religion is, certainly what Christianity is. It's a very rigid view of the world, and your view must align with the views of the people who take the Bible completely literally, even though we know that it's a book of recycled mythology. So they are very uncomfortable with the idea of not knowing. Whew.
I know. It's funny because I always get these comments from people saying, well, if a God didn't create us, then who created us? It's like, okay, well, first of all, you have to prove that we were created. But second of all, why do we have to know the answer to everything? I don't understand why people need that so much. I've met for my entire life, there's been many, many things that I've not understood, and I'm okay with saying I don't know, because that leaves the door open for learning the answer to those questions. If you say I know and it happened like this without any evidence, that door closes and you're not open to learning new things anymore.
Yeah, and that does require an amount of maturity to be able to sit in that uncomfortable space of not knowing. And a lot of people who have been indoctrinated with religious ideologies, they can be stuck in a kind of perpetual state of immaturity. Uh, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, people. The truth hurts.
Well, I think I will give this one to Smicks because they correctly pegged me as a nut job. I am.
What kind of nut? Are you
The
a
fun
Brazil
kind.
nut? Oh, the fun kind. Yes, you are the most fun kind of nut. That's true. I'm thinking, are you a pistachio?
Maybe a cashew. Maybe a cashew. I do like to get into that fetal position.
Well, I'm going to give it two. Two smicks.
All right. Are we ready for the next comment?
Mm-hmm.
Having a bad relationship with imperfect people ought not to stop you being reconciled back to a right relation with a heavenly Father who doesn't want anyone to perish, but find eternal life in Christ Jesus. The gospel.
I think that one was probably aimed at me. I get a lot of comments like that. And people, it's like the same people that say, I'm sorry you had a bad experience with church, but you don't have to hate on everybody. And I'm like, you have no idea. You don't know anything about me. And I actually, a lot of the people I went to church with, I enjoyed. I even enjoyed attending church. There were things about it I really liked. When I divorced religion and walked away from my faith, it was a huge shock for me. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't even looking for it. It wasn't because people were treating me terribly, but it was because I started smelling something rotten in the state of Denmark. Like things were not adding up. I couldn't force myself into that mental pretzel anymore just to make things make sense, which is what happens if you're trying to take a mythological book as literal. It's not. It's not. It won't work. So, whew.
I'm always floored by how they talk. Like, ought not to stop you being reconciled back to a right relation with a heavenly Father. Those are words, definitely. But, like, could you not have said that more straightforward? I don't know. They always speak in this feathery language that is just easily misinterpreted or could mean different things depending on who's reading it. You know what I mean? And it's so fluffy and there's no substance to it whatsoever. And it's just like, what is your aim with this comment? Do you actually believe that this is going to be like, like you're going to read this comment and be like, okay, so it's because I had bad relationships with people that I don't believe in God now. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to church tomorrow.
Yes, I'll run right back to church. Exactly. I'll forget everything that I've learned and I'll just run right back. Yeah. Well, a lot of these folks are still stuck on King James English, the King James version of the Bible. So it shouldn't be. It's not too much of a leap to see why some of the language maybe just doesn't quite make as much sense or doesn't sound like it's in the vernacular of the modern era. But I'm reading it going, are you threatening me? Are you like chastising me and slapping my fingers? It seems like an aggressive kind of comment. And I mean, there's a lot of all caps in there. We got a couple of words that are in all caps. And so, they're shouting.
Yeah, I like how they ended it with just the gospel.
Like, fundy vibes.
Okay. I don't know. I don't understand any of this stuff. It's just,
I wish I didn't.
the thing is too is that it's so dismissive of you and what you say brought you to atheism. Like they're like, no, that's not what brought you to atheism. This is like they don't even know you from a hole in the wall. They literally have just stumbled across your Facebook page in the last 3 seconds. Before that, had no idea that you existed, and now they're like diagnosing your atheism. Like It's just
And you know the really, really horrible thing? I read that and I listen to that and I'm like, ooh, that's almost exactly like something I would have written to somebody when I was still an entrenched fundamentalist. It's like, ooh, get it off me. I apologize to everyone that I ever interacted with when I was a fundamentalist. Woo,
well, I'm really glad that you're on this side of the microphone now.
amen. Yeah.
I gotta give this one 3 smicks because I just found that last little sentence fragment, the gospel in all caps. That's just glorious. I loved it.
I thought it was better. We're getting better for the comments. I think I would give that one 2.5. I'm not ready to give it a 3, but I'll give it
Okay. All right. Are we ready for another comment?
No, it does not. We never use magical thinking. Some doctrine is what we use as Catholics.
okay. You are not using sound doctrine. You are 100% using magical thinking if you are a Catholic.
One word, transubstantiation.
Seriously, come on, people.
Oh, virgin births, talking donkeys.
Saints, miracles. Yeah, there's no proof, there's no evidence. And so we know that people tend to come to religion either by being indoctrinated in childhood or at a transition point in life, like a crisis kind of vulnerability point later in life. And that's when people aren't feeling entirely secure. It might have been because a worldwide pandemic came. It might have been because a loved one died or we lost a job or something, horrible. Also, people are addicted to things, and those 12-step groups take place in churches. So then people swap the addiction over to religion, a religious kind of addiction. But so we never use magical thinking. Um, when people are saying words like never and always and should and must, that lets us know that it's their ideology and their identity have fused together. They're having a hard time standing apart from the thing that they believe, which means they can't evaluate it properly. They've become too attached to it.
Yeah, there's the quote from Star Wars, only a Sith Lord deals in absolutes. I think that's how it goes.
Hmm. Wow. I don't know. I'm more of a Trekkie than a Star Wars person, but
They tickle different areas of the brain. I would highly suggest checking out the Star Wars.
okay.
It's fun. It's fun in a different way from Star Trek, but that's totally off topic. Um, especially being somebody raised outside of religion and looking at it from the outside in, it is all magical thinking. Like all of it is magical thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, there may be different parts or similar parts in different religions that people think, oh, well, that will be a good way to live your life based on a certain principle or something. But that's not the Christianity in particular. It's recycled. It's all coming from ideas and philosophies and stories that were in older religions. And just like now we look at, Thor and Loki and whomever those other gods were, we say, oh, well, that's obviously myth. And guess what's going to happen, a few hundred years from now as people are looking back going, oh, that whole Jesus, Yahweh, Jehovah thing, that's a myth.
I would definitely recommend, along those lines, reading Joseph Campbell's Hero of a Thousand Faces. I'll put a link to that in the description because that is such a phenomenal book. And oh my gosh, he's such a phenomenal speaker.
And The Power of Myth, too, also with Joseph Campbell. And people can read the book or they can find the video series
Interview.
that's on YouTube. Yeah, with Bill Moyer, the interview. Mm-hmm.
At Skywalker Ranch.
That's right.
It's the Star Wars themed show today. All right. What would you give this comment? How many smicks?
I'm keeping it kind of low today. I'm going to say like 1. Just not feeling it in a big way.
no, it's again dull and uninspired, and I will give it a 1 as well because I think they could do better than that. Are we ready for another comment?
Your damn time is too important, isn't it? Being damned will be for eternity.
Okay.
What?
I feel like there's a couple of different things going on there, and I don't think it means what they think it means. The first comment there. How does the first comment join with the second one? Like what? What is going on there?
This is a theme that I find in these comments that, like, from one sentence to another, they're so disjointed and, like, there's no flow, you know? But I've always struggled with the idea of eternal damnation for finite crimes because that and people will tell you that their God is benevolent and omnipotent and omniscient
And all loving. Yes.
and all loving. Why would an all loving God punish finite crimes with infinite torture? It just is so overkill, you know? like chill, dude.
If he really loved his creation, why would he create Satan, right? His adversary, the enemy, and then have humans, go through all these different tests and whatever, rather than just why didn't he uncreate him if he created him? Like what? The whole thing is silly. I do say I do give this person a point for their creative capitalization. So being damned will be with a capital B for eternity, and eternity is also capitalized. So they must think those are really important.
Yeah. Eternal damnation too is problematic in that you never know if people being good, because they have God in their lives and they believe in hell and they believe in heaven. You never know if they're actually being good for the sake of being good.
For goodness sake.
Yeah, or if they're just being kept in check by this fear of eternal damnation. Because if you're the type of person that needs to be kept in check by these threats and that's the only way that you can be good, then you're not good. You're not a decent person. It's a little scary.
Yeah, it's so true, and I feel like there's a political party in the United States that seems to be largely made up of Christian believers, and they are behaving in a decidedly unloving, uncompassionate way. No, not interested.
So how many smicks do you think this being damned to hell once again has earned?
So I gotta do 1.5 again. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here.
I'm gonna go with 1 because just it's not even remotely thoughtful. Like, just put a little bit of time and thought and energy into what you're commenting.
At least be funny. Yeah.
How the hell are we ever gonna get a clue at this rate? Well, Janice, that was the last comment we have this episode.
Already?
Yeah, I feel like we have not even come close to getting a clue, but
We're not even close to the smickosphere.
we're just gonna have to keep trying and hope that one day somebody delivers some really good comments worthy of a 5 smicker.
That's right. Yeah, we know you can do it. Well, it was fun.
Yes, it's always fun. It's fun to turn these comments that are it's like a renewable resource, it just churning constantly and just to harvest them and then have some fun with it. I love it. So.
It's true. Now when I get some kind of nasty or very bizarre comment, I'm like, oh, goody. Another one.
Me too. Me too. I'm hoping that they don't catch on and stop commenting so that we don't feature their comments on our podcast, but that might happen. So, although some might want to be mentioned on the podcast.
Maybe they recognize their own comment that we just read tonight. If that's you send us $10 right away.
Yes. And that's something that I should mention as well, is that there will be a page on godlessmom.com where you can go and look at all the actual screenshots of these comments. I'll link that down below so you can see that we're not just making them up. I don't even think I could if I tried.
I tell you, I'd run out, I think. But no, people will just keep them coming because that's how it works when you're a religious fanatic. You got to keep trying.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, that's that for this week's Holy Comments. Thanks for joining me, Janice. How can people find you and what do you have going on?
Ooh, people can find me just about everywhere as Divorcing Religion. And I'm on Facebook as Divorcing Religion Workshop. And I have a very big deal that's happening in May of 2025 in Seattle, Washington, near Pike Place Market, which I just love. And that is the Shameless Sexuality Life After Purity Culture Conference. Yes, Seattle. And it's going to be such an awesome event. I'm very excited about it. And people can find out more by going to shamelesssexuality.org, short for orgasm.
And as I've said before, it's going to be the spiciest conference of the year, so I wouldn't miss it.
It's going to be a good one.
And I think people can also go to your website, divorcingreligion.com, to get a free consultation if they are struggling with religious trauma syndrome.
Oh, they sure can. Yes. And then also, if they're looking for some support, I do offer a free support group for people recovering from religious trauma syndrome. So again, they can sign up through my website.
Cool. And as far as Holy Comments fans go, there's going to be extras in our subscribers area on various platforms. I'll leave information down below so you can figure out how to access the subscriber only content, which is going to be more Holy Comments for your pleasure. And you can follow me, Godless Mom, on Facebook and Godless Mom on YouTube and at godless_mom on Instagram and Threads. And now I'm on Blue Sky too, so you can find me there. Just search Godless Mom. Just search Godless Mom everywhere, except if you find me on X, it's not really me because I just deleted my account. High five.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I totally hear you on that. And if you find me on Blue Sky, if you find someone using the Divorcing Religion handle, that's actually a guy named Bruce. He wouldn't give it to me. So, but you can find me, Janice Selby, on Blue Sky, and then Divorcing Religion is in nice big words there. Thank you, Bruce.
All right. If you want to be featured on Holy Comments, leave an unhinged comment below, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Take care.